Chapter 6. Marley makes a movie. Jenny's friend Colleen worked for a film company. One day Colleen called Jenny. "My company is making a film about a family in Florida," she said. "They want pictures of a family home. Can I come and take some pictures of your house?" Colleen came and took photos of our home and the children and of Marley too. She showed them to her boss, Bob Goss. Some days later, Jenny called me at work. "Bob Goss is making a movie about a family with a dog," she said excitedly. "So he's looking for a dog, a big family dog. He saw Colleen's photos and he's interested in Marley." "Really?" said. "You mean Marley?" "Our Marley." The next day, Colleen came to our house and took Marley to her boss. 2 hours later, she brought him back again. "Marley was great," she said. "Everybody loved him." Some days later, the company started filming. "Bring Marley to the Gulfstream Hotel at 9 o'clock, Bob Goss told us. We put the children and Marley into the car and drove to the hotel. A lot of people stood outside. The police were there too. One of the policemen looked inside the car. He saw Jenny, 2 small children, and a large dog. "You can't come this way," he said. "You have to turn back." "But we're with the film company," I said. "Our dog is in the movie." "Really?" the police officer said. Then he looked at a paper in his hand. "You have the dog." Marley's name was on the paper. "I have the dog," I said. "Marley the dog." "Oh," said the policeman. He turned to another policeman and shouted, "He has the dog. Marley the dog." Then he turned to us again. "You can come in," he said. I felt very important. Marley was famous. The cameraman started to film Marley. But Marley wasn't obedient. He ran and jumped. He chewed through his leash. "Cut! Cut!" shouted Bob Goss. At the end of the day, we took Marley home. "Marley," I said sadly, "you're not going to be famous." But the next day, the film company called again. "Please bring Marley back here," they said. When we got back to the hotel, Bob Goss said, "On film, Marley was great." Marley had a very good time with the people in the film company. Everybody played with him and petted him. After 4 days, the cameraman stopped filming. "Call us after 8 months, said Bob Goss. "The movie will be ready then." After 8 months, we called the company. The name of the movie was The Last Home Run, but we couldn't learn anything about it. I called the company again and again. 2 years later, I was in a store and there were a lot of movies on the shelves. Suddenly, I saw The Last Home Run. Marley's movie. I bought it and took it home. "Come and watch this," I shouted to Jenny and the children. We saw Marley in the movie. He was only there for 2 minutes, but it was very exciting. We all laughed and cried. "We're famous," shouted Patrick. Marley's name came at the end of the film. In big letters it said, "Marley the dog." Sometime later, we said goodbye to our home in West Palm Beach. The place got more and more dangerous, and our house was too small for 2 children and a large dog. So we moved to a bigger house in another city, Boca Raton. A lot of rich people lived in Boca Raton. They had expensive cars, big houses, and beautiful clothes. There were many good things about our new house. Near the house was a small park. But best of all, it had a pool. We all loved the pool, but Marley loved it most. He jumped in with me and climbed on me. But there was a problem with the garage in our new house. It had no windows and it got very hot in summer. So we couldn't put Marley in it when there was a thunderstorm. I took Patrick and Connor to the pet store and we bought a strong cage for Marley. We put it next to the washing machine. Put some food in the cage. "Come here, Marley," I called. Marley went inside and I closed the door of the cage after him. He lay down on the floor and chewed his food happily. "This is going to be your new home when we're away," I said. That evening we went out for dinner. Before we left, I opened the door of the cage. Marley walked inside and I closed the door. "Be a good boy, Marley," I said. We had dinner in a restaurant, then we went for a walk. "This is great," said Jenny. "We can forget about Marley. We know he's fine in the cage." She smiled happily. We went home and walked to the front door. I looked at the window next to it. Something was there in the window. Something black and wet. It was Marley's nose. "What's that?" said. "How could Marley?" When I opened the front door, Marley ran to us happily. Everything in the house was fine. Then we looked at the cage. The door was open. "But how did Marley get out?" asked Jenny. "He opened the door from inside," I said. "He's smart and he's very strong." Day after day when we left the house, we put Marley into the cage. When we came home, sometimes he was there. Sometimes he was at the window. We tried to make the cage stronger, but Marley was stronger than the cage. When he wanted to get out, he pushed the door open.